这个.
I think I learned how to count first.
Speak in numbers.
0 through 10.
谢谢.
谢谢. 怒吼.
Boyao. Say Boyao.
买单.
听不懂.
听不懂，听不懂，听不懂.
One of my first Chinese friends when I got here, they taught me how to say, of course, ni hao ma, and some Shanghainese local dialects as well, such as nu ho, which is ni hao in Shanghainese, so that's kind of nice.
Ni hao, like hello. I think that's the first word ever, but one thing that I really like to use is actually like, oh, 这个 is like, oh, this is, because like it's easy if I want to order stuff, like 这个, like I want this, so they normally understand me in that way.
I think I learned how to count first, and I learned it playing the dice game that everyone plays at the local restaurants, where you go like this with the dice, then you go, 1, 2s, or yeah, and then so we played it in Chinese, and so then my numbers got pretty good after that.
See, first Chinese words I learned were 听不懂. So that means I don't understand, and one of the local teachers actually taught me, because I would just go everywhere and people would just start speaking Chinese to me, and she would just say 听不懂, and that means I don't understand. So now that was like, I lived by that the first couple weeks, just like walking around, 听不懂, 听不懂, 听不懂.
So the first thing I was taught, we went on a walk through Shanghai, and we kind of went to one of the places where some people will kind of come up to you and try and sell you stuff. And my friend was like, okay, the first word you need to know is Boyao. If you don't want something, say Boyao. And I was like, what does that mean? It means I don't want it. And I was like, okay. And then actually, then our next thing was, but if you do want it, say Boyao. So I kind of learned those two on my sort of first week.
The first words I learned was actually when I was still in America. I had a roommate who, when I told him I was going to China, he was like, well, you got to start learning some things. So he would always quiz me, and the first things I learned were the numbers, at least 0 through 10.
I started learning Chinese from quite a young age, so about 11 or 12. I remember pulling out my textbook to try and communicate with someone in Chinese in my first trip to China, and sort of trying to speak in numbers, so counting. Obviously had the tones completely wrong and was not understood, but practice makes perfect, so we've gotten there now, thank goodness.
So yeah, I could say 谢谢, but I'm never sure quite how to say it. It seems like everyone says it in different ways.
Well, I learned on my own, like ni hao and 谢谢, just to arrive and be okay. But the most useful words I learned when I arrived was 这个, which just means this. So obviously when you're ordering in a restaurant, you can just use that, and it kind of feels rude, but it's super simple, and it, it's like survival to begin with.
Actually, when I arrived, my Chinese was mama hu hu. It wasn't great at all. And so my team took me out for lunch, and they seemed very comfortable, with like ordering food. And at the end, when they say 买单, that means like the check, please. And I had never learned that in the books, basically, when I was abroad. So I was like, my what? My dan? What does that mean? And so that is a word that you say all the time, and all the foreigners know, for instance. So that's one of the first words that I learned. Check, please.